Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Are you sick of looking at Netflix and you don't know what to watch?
So many movies out there, you don't know which ones are good, which ones were bad.
You curious about what's out there?
I'm Joey Powers.
I'm Don Trettler.
This is The Best Pictures.
The ones you don't want to miss.
Hit it. Say hello to my little friend.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Winners go home and prom queen.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I don't deserve this. Deserves got nothing to do with it. No sequel for you.
Oh, sure.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of The Best Pictures. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
Hey, and I'm Don Trettler. Welcome to the show.
I wore my special Mario shirt today, but we can't see it because the computer is blocking it. But yeah, we're going to do part 2 of our favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, in case you missed it, last week we were talking about our favorite all-time movies and some of Colin's favorite all-time movies, too.
We were supposed to narrow it down to 10, but that was kind of hard for either one of us to do. I got a lot more than Don, but still, it's just hard because we're both really big movie buffs. You know, we've seen a lot of movies over the years. But there was something I wanted to do at the beginning of the show now, just kind of do like a briefly update on the weekend box office. As I was telling you, Black Widow was expected to repeat as the top spot in the, I'm talking domestic here, but in a surprise, Space Jam: A New Legacy actually beat it with $31,650,000, which is a pretty good weekend. Black Widow was second at 26.5. It's accumulated $132 million in 2 weeks in the U.S., so that's off to a really good start. Escape Room Tournament of Champions debuted in third with 8.8.
That's a movie? That's like at the theaters?
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess it's a sequel. I haven't even seen Escape Room. And then F9, which is Fast and Furious 9, finished fourth with 7.62, bringing its accumulation to 154, almost 155. Then rounding out the top 5 was Boss Baby Family Business, which made 4.7, and it's up to 44.6 million. So that's the top 5.
Well, tell me something. Are you surprised that there's not more big-budget movies being released now? Because I am. I was actually near a movie theater, one of the new, big new movie theaters and stuff, and I thought, oh, it'd be neat to go to the movies, but there's nothing I really want to see.
Well, BF got Black Widow, which I was kind of surprised they got it as early as they did because they had to keep it for such a long period of time.
So it must still be there.
It is, yeah.
It'll be there all summer long.
Probably. One movie that's just came out that I really want to see is The Forever Purge. I've seen all 3 of the Purge movies. I didn't like the first one as much because it's more or less like a home invasion as opposed to the second 2. They're out on the streets, so there's a lot more action, a lot more people involved. But they're good.
Huh? I've never seen any of those.
The first one's got Ethan Hawke. The second one's got Frank Grillo. He's the star. He's like a former Secret Service agent or cop or something. Hey, there's Mario. And then the third one's called Election Year. It's got him and I forget the blonde lady's name. Elizabeth Mitchell. That's her name. And then there's another one that came out, the first Purge, which is obviously a prequel, which I haven't seen that one yet. But I really want to see. I've seen the preview. It's for the Forever Purge. Because basically what the movie is, it's just 24 hours, no crimes can be committed. You're free to do whatever you want to whoever you want. There's no cops. There's no ambulances. There's no hospitals. Like, they're all shut down for 24 hours. And I guess in this one, they extend it to the Forever Purge, which means you can just purge whenever you want. Forever.
Oh,
So
wow.
that interests me. I have the second and third one if you want to borrow them.
Yeah, I might check it out.
I didn't.
I know they must be pretty popular if they came out.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
2
this is the
sequels.
5th one. That's been out there.
5, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty popular. Like I said, I don't have the first one. You know, I'm gonna actually just check. Second one's called The Purge: Anarchy. Just want to see what they get for The Purge: Anarchy. Let's see what it gets. I bet they're rated somewhat high. It's a pretty popular.
I'm really surprised that there's not a lot more
6.4.
movies out, because I would have thought with last year them not releasing anything. I mean, we saw it just as evidenced by the Academy Awards, which we talked about on the show. There was not a lot of like really great films for them to choose from.
No,
I think
there
it
wasn't.
was kind of slim pickings.
Very.
I would have thought they'd had stockpiled a ton of movies.
I
that
know,
were
and they'd
sitting
just
there.
be releasing them left and right, you know, but I think there are starting to be bigger releases coming out now.
Do you think maybe the fall will be huge?
I think the fall will be huge, but I think the rest of the summer is probably going to be pretty huge too.
Because there's probably got to be more Marvel, right?
You know.
there
I
has to
think
be
there's
more
another
Marvel
Guardians of the Galaxies coming out.
movies. Those were pretty good too. Those two ones that they came out with so far.
I haven't seen them.
Really?
I own them, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the characters. From seeing them from the like Endgame and
Oh, all right,
what's the other one before Endgame? Infinity War.
right.
Okay, well,
Yeah, they're not bad. They're good. I actually kind of, I got to say, I really enjoyed the first one. Second one certainly wasn't.
I
huge
don't
disappointment,
really
I think.
like Chris Pratt's character. I think he's kind of goofy and annoying.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna check, but it doesn't show. All right, so anyway, I'll go first this week. I guess I'm gonna go with The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
You know, that's a classic, as we've noted several times on the show that is #1 ranked on IMDb
And has been for quite a while.
since we've done this show, I believe.
Couple of notches above The Godfather.
Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, directed by Frank Darabont, who also did The Green Mile and is also involved in The Walking Dead. It's just a really, really, really good movie. It's about redemption, you know. Well, obviously, if it's called Shawshank Redemption, it's
Right.
about redemption. Tim Robbins plays a banker or accountant, something like that, who's wrongfully accused of murdering his wife. And Morgan Freeman's just pretty much a lifer for murder when he was a young kid. And they just kind of bond and create like a lifelong friendship. A really, really, really good movie. I think it's like 9.1, 9.2.
Yeah, way up there.
It's insanely high.
Which originally, when we first found that out, we were kind of surprised.
That I was surprised that it was #1. I mean, if you told me it was like top 20, I wouldn't have been surprised. But #1, yeah,
Right.
that surprised me.
And it's the kind of movie, you know, we've talked about this before, these movies where you see a piece of them on television and then you can't stop watching them.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Frank Darabont made that. He made The Green Mile.
Yep, he did.
I think he did The Mist.
The Mist. Have you seen that?
No, it's on my list. To
Oh,
see.
I gotta bring that in for you. The end. You're gonna love the end of that movie. I gotta write it down.
Yeah, so that he really hasn't made that many movies, but the ones that he made
Are
were
all
really excellent.
good quality.
It's amazing. All
All
right,
right.
so let's see. Maybe I should move on to one of mine.
Yep.
Speaking of, I'm trying to think of what's a good way to put this. Well, when I mentioned, because I just bumped into Craig Jakes
Yep.
and Jason Jakes outside, who do Gory Story Time, and gave us these.
You got these bracelets
Neat
coming up with
bracelets.
their 200th episode. So
Yeah, they're coming. That's pretty amazing, and they've probably run through every single horror movie you can.
I
even
know. I
imagine.
can't imagine how they keep finding more.
But I'm going to mention my favorite. I think this is one of my favorite ones because I've been able to watch it over and over again. Not back to back. I won't watch it every year or anything, but maybe every 5 years I'll pull it out because I just love it. The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yep. You're talking about the 1982 version.
Right.
With Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley.
Which was a remake of a 50s movie.
Right.
The 50s movie had The Thing up in the Arctic Circle. It had to do with like an army barracks. This one, they updated. It was Antarctica. It was, again, like an army barracks down in Antarctica. And Kurt Russell, who's always really enjoyable. We've featured him on our show before. We've talked
Yep.
about his work. His co-star there,
Quaker
Keith
Oats.
David,
And Quaker Oats guy.
Quaker Oats guy, Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley.
But Keith David, I think he's underrated. He's pretty good actor.
Which one's he again? I always get him confused.
He's the black guy that shaved his head.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice, and they use it in
He's a good actor.
commercials.
He's actually going to be in the next movie I talk about.
I'm not sure. I just watched it within the past year or so, and
I haven't seen that in ages.
the special effects, they hold up. They still held up. They're not state of the art. I mean, this was what, 40 years ago.
Yeah. God, you make us feel old.
I know, but boy, it was like I said, that's my favorite horror
Well,
movie.
Carpenter's always been talented, I mean, I'm a huge fan of all the Halloween movies, I don't know how many he's actually involved with, if it's just the first two, and then somebody else took over
Yeah,
after.
probably.
I think, yeah. Because I think, what I heard was, I think that was originally shot all at once as one movie, and he just cut it in half, because he's like, no one's going to go see a 3.5-hour horror movie,
Yeah.
And they brought him out in back-to-back years. But it, literally, the second one takes place right where the first one left off. So it's like you didn't miss anything. It's like, I could watch all those, except for season 3. Me and my friend used to get them when we were in middle school and watch a couple every weekend until we went through all the series of Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. We went through all those. And he picked one up at the video store one time. It didn't realize till we got in and put it in. It wasn't even part of the series. Season 3 is called Season of the Witch.
Right.
It has nothing to do with Michael Myers. It was terrible. It sucked. I think, God, I can't think of his name. He's the warden in Prison Break. But I think he's the star of it. Stacy Keach.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
he's good. I think he's a really good actor, but terrible movie. Absolutely awful. It's like, dude, how did you not notice the cover when it says Season of the Witch that has nothing to do with Michael Myers? All right, I'm going to read
You know what I've never seen, speaking of John Carpenter, is Escape from New York. That's one I got to see
I haven't
someday.
seen that or Escape from L.A.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen either one. All right, so this is one that we've all seen. I think me and you saw it twice, Joker. A really, really, really good movie. Joaquin Phoenix, the performance of his career, I would say.
Right.
I mean, he was really good in Walk the Line as Johnny Cash. He was also really good in Gladiator. This was his 4th Oscar nomination, finally won. And
He's good in everything. He's one of our favorites.
he is, but he just makes you feel so uncomfortable with it. He just nails the role. I mean, we've had a conversation about it before. I mean, look at the icons that have played the Joker. You got Jack Nicholson. Do you know the actor's name that played it in the TV show?
Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero. Okay, so he was pretty famous too. Then you got Jack Nicholson. You got Heath Ledger. You got Jared Leto. And then you got Joaquin Phoenix. All 4 of those actors in the movies are Academy Award winners.
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger won their Oscars for playing the Joker, which normally isn't really like a role you would think would be nominated for an Oscar.
Right.
But
True.
they both absolutely killed it. I don't know if it's because I like him as a better actor than Heath Ledger, but I thought Joaquin Phoenix was a little bit better.
Yeah.
I thought they were both very uncomfortable, but I think Joaquin Phoenix's character was just a lot more darker, which is hard to do because Heath Ledger's character was really dark. But like there was just something unsettling about the whole movie. Like you just, not like I'm afraid necessarily, but just like I said, unsettling. Just like
Exactly,
because
yeah.
it was just so dark and just so awkward. Robert De Niro's in it as well, but he doesn't have a very big part at all. He's like a TV host, kind of like a Tonight Show host.
The female lead in it isn't in a lot of stuff. I think her name is like Zazu Beetz.
Yeah, I looked her up. I didn't recognize her in anything else other than this, but she was good too. I mean, even the little guy. I thought the little guy was good too.
Yeah. It's a good film.
It is. It's a really good film. We saw it twice. We went and saw it down in Keene, right?
Right.
And then we saw it again. We took your son to BF to watch it. And what did he think?
I think he liked it a lot
Yeah,
too.
it was good.
It's got an ending that I think it's up for interpretation, and
Yes,
I kind of
yes.
like that with movies.
I do too. All right, so that's
All right, so speaking of movies that are open to interpretation, and I had another one that was similar to this that I know you've seen and liked, Body Heat.
Oh my God.
which is like a film noir.
I haven't. That's William Hurt, Kathleen Turner.
Right.
Haven't seen, and that's Is that Lawrence Kasdan?
It is Lawrence Kasdan.
I haven't
And he
seen
wrote
that
it.
in a long time.
Yeah. Real good. It's a film noir movie. It
Like
came
probably-
out the same year that they remade The Postman Always Rings Twice.
You know, it was like 84, 85 around there.
Yeah, right around that time.
Yeah.
I just really liked it. I liked the dialogue in the movie. I thought it was pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big William Hurt fan. I like William
Oh,
Hurt.
I think he's a very underrated actor.
Kathleen Turner at the time was like the hottest, sexiest woman on the screen.
Did you ever see, not to interrupt you, but Serial Mom?
No.
That's funny. It's a comedy. She plays a mom that goes on a murdering spree and just starts killing people for no reason other than she's just turned crazy.
Well, this is a movie that the ending is open to interpretation, I think. You know, because I remember talking about this with
I don't
people.
even remember it, to
People
be honest.
said, well, I think she meant this, and I think it meant this. And I thought it was pretty interesting. And I think it's similar to Gone Girl.
Okay.
You know, where it has that kind of an end where you're like, oh, what's the...
I know. I still don't understand fully the end of Gone Girl. I don't get. I don't get it. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I just didn't get how things went down the way they did. I guess another one that I was gonna get at is the one with Keith David, Platoon.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's definitely one of my favorites of all time. Outside of, I wouldn't even say outside of it. I think it's even better than Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot because Saving Private Ryan is very, very high on IMDb as well.
They're both really
I think
good
Platoon's
films.
pretty high too, though.
Platoon won Best Picture, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Won Best Picture, Best Director, I think Screenplay. Both Barnes, played by Tom Berenger, and Willem Dafoe, Elias, were nominated for Supporting Actor. We've had this conversation before. And do you remember? Oh, Michael Caine, I think, for Hannah and Her Sisters.
Right. So they kind of canceled each other out.
Yeah. But also, the same year was Dennis Hopper for Hoosiers. You know, so that was a strong year. Saving Private Ryan gets an 8.6. I wonder about Platoon. I think Platoon doesn't get quite that high. I think it's like 8.3. I mean, it's definitely high. But 8.1. I think that's low for Platoon.
8.1.
Yeah, versus 8.6 for Saving Private Ryan.
Wow.
That's two still very highly rated films. But yeah, I guess
It would be hard. I think it would be hard for me to choose between the two of them.
it's tough because the story about Platoon is really fighting within each other. You know, it's not really as much about fighting the enemy as much as it's about fighting, like the crew, whatever it's called, infantry, is divided in two. One side sides with Barnes, the other side sides with Elias, and then there's Chris Taylor, who's kind of stuck in the middle. You know, both sergeants are trying to get him to go to their side, and it's a very powerful film. It's loosely based on Oliver Stone's experiences in Vietnam, so I don't know how you would interpret that, like how much of it's Hollywoodized and how much of it's actually true.
Great cast.
Outstanding
The movie
cast.
has a great cast.
And I mean, both sergeants nailed it, you know, and so did Charlie Sheen as Chris Taylor, you know.
Maybe Oliver Stone's best. I mean, but Oliver Stone has a pretty
good.
decent catalog of movies that he's made. Even when you look him up, he's not prominent anymore, but he still has made some solid films under the radar.
Well, Alex said he saw Snowden, which I think was his last film that he did, and he said it was really good.
Right.
I
think it got rated well on IMDb as well.
Probably. I haven't seen it.
But it may not have been promoted really highly, so it wasn't a huge box office release.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays the lead.
Do you like him?
Yep.
I just watched him in a movie that Alex recommended called Brick.
7.3. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Brick, I've heard of that. How's that?
It's good. I think it was like an independent film at the time because he's really the only big that I can think of. He's really the only big star in that movie.
He's gotten pretty big, though, in the movies. Because he started off on Third Rock from the Sun.
Did he really?
Yeah, years and years, like 25 years ago maybe now.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a kid. John Lithgow is the dad.
Right.
They're aliens from another planet. It is a comedy. It was good.
Yeah, that was something I just never really watched. I had
Yeah.
kind of an awareness that it was on television.
I didn't watch it a lot, but when I watched it, it was pretty funny.
Huh.
But I mean, I think really, I think Inception pretty much kicked off him like into like movie stardom. And then he was in The Dark Knight Rises, another Christopher Nolan film. And I think he directed one called like Don Juan or something like that, where I think he wrote, directed, and starred in it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's an independent film.
Huh.
I think Scarlett Johansson's in it.
He was in the last of the Christopher Nolan Batmans, and I thought...
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises.
Didn't you feel like they were going to continue that on, that he was going to pick up the ball and be like Robin in a movie?
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. That's how the movie ended. And then they just completely started over with Ben Affleck as
Right.
Batman. And that movie tanked. Batman vs. I mean, it didn't tank. It made a crap load of money, but it wasn't very good.
Right.
Suicide Squad made a lot of money. That was better than Batman vs. Superman, but that still wasn't as good as... I mean, I expected more out of Jared Leto. Like,
Yeah, they didn't use him very much.
no, they didn't. And they should have, because the Joker is one of the most famous characters in DC.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, he's without question, he's the most famous villain. But I also read a thing that said that the plan was to bring Heath Ledger back for The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh.
But obviously that didn't happen, so they ended up bringing Tom Hardy in to play Bane,
Yeah.
and then Anne Hathaway plays Catwoman. You know, but
The best Catwoman ever.
yeah,
It's going to be hard to top
best looking Catwoman ever too.
Because I thought, Michelle Pfeiffer really wanted to be Catwoman in the Tim Burton Batman series. She kind of like, just went out of her way to get that part. And she got it, and she was very good at it.
But you know who wasn't? Halle Berry.
That's what I've heard.
Did
yeah.
you? That movie sucked. That was so bad.
I didn't even see it. I mean, because word of mouth is so bad on that movie.
I saw some of it on TV. There's a scene where like Benjamin Bratt plays like the lead detective and her love interest, and they're just like playing basketball, like just joking around and flirting with each other. And I'm like, what is this? This is like cheesy, like thought this was gonna be like kind of scary or something. All right, we got time for one more Collins.
Drum roll, please.
All right, what about Step Brothers?
Step Brothers.
Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly.
I thought that was a pretty funny movie.
I didn't like it at all. I think, you know how I am. It gets built up to me to be something that it's not. Like, I'm thinking Talladega Nights 2 in a way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I didn't think it was nearly as good as Talladega Nights. Like, I just watched Talladega Nights again probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I enjoy it. I mean, I think they make a good combination. I think they have really good chemistry. I just, for whatever reason, I think Step Brothers was just too much. They were like too over the top with it, I thought.
Yeah. Comedy is tough to do.
It is. But like I said, I think they are very good together. That movie just didn't mesh for me. I mean, I thought they were funny. I just didn't like the storyline.
Right.
What did you think? You thought it was all right?
I thought it was okay, yeah.
You think it's above the Mendoza line?
I got some laughs, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's in the 6s.
I'm going to say it's under 6. What do you think, Colin? Over, under? You probably think over, right? Under? Okay. Let's see. Who's right?
It's taking us a minute here.
6.9.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that's
a
pretty,
well-liked movie.
That is pretty high. So I guess I'm just in the minority, I mean, 6.9, that's definitely, according to our Mendoza line, it's definitely watchable, so.
It's very hard. As I've said before, if you ask the common person what the scariest movie is, they're all going to pretty much tell you, like, within 10 movies.
Yeah.
The scariest movies. You ask somebody about what the funniest movie is, you're going to get a wide array because people's senses of humor are very different.
Yeah.
And I have a comedy on mine, but we'll talk it in part 3.
Yeah. One thing I just want to say to add to that before we go is I think if you asked most people, if we did a poll, I think most people would probably tell you The Exorcist.
It's the scariest.
It's the scariest because I remember watching that. My sister couldn't go to sleep with the lights off. She had to have the lights on because she was so scared. I mean, Linda Blair's performance was pretty friggin' scary.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
terrified
the scene when they turn her head around and stuff. Ugh.
Yeah,
It was good though. It was definitely good.
that's up there. The Shining is on a lot of people's lists.
Yep. Which you didn't care for.
No, I don't. And I can't figure out why. I've watched it many times.
Hey, some movies just aren't for everybody, you know? Like I said, Step Brothers gets a 6.9 and I didn't like it. I wouldn't have even given it a 5,
Yeah.
you know? So, but that's gonna be it for this episode. Like I said, I'll talk to Alex and see about next week. Colin's going on vacation, so have fun, Colin. We'll see you in a couple weeks. I'm one of your hosts, Joey Powers.
I'm Don Tretler, and these are the ones you don't want to miss.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Here's Johnny. Go ahead. Make my day.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.